Oh my goodness, I'm ever proud of these guys, Willie and Taylor and Mikhail, coming right across Canada for this wonderful cause. Our mission is to prepare young people to thrive in meaningful lives, and my goodness, they're already doing meaningful things. Well done, Gear West.
How are you?
Well, thanks for coming today.
My husband's out riding, working times.
Are you taking a picture at me?
Chase, can you smile and say, "Good job, Willie. Good job, Taylor." Oh, and I run with Catherine. And
on their way. They should be here pretty shortly. I just want to quickly mention some of the buses involved
Hi. Great.
We're gonna cut the music speeches and hear from these guys instead of the sponsors. What a bizarre way to get back from school, but hey, anything for an amazing cause. I said this earlier before the guys rolled in. I just want to quickly say a couple words, and then I'm going to get the ball rolling thank you. With more important people, with more important things. This ride probably wouldn't happen without these sponsors. So I just want to quickly go over them. One of the first sponsors to step up right away was Haywood Securities, and they quickly supplied these guys with their cycling gear and a ton of support to get the ball rolling in terms of this ride. Number 2 here, in no particular order by the way, but Obsession Bikes. Lower Lonsdale, James Wilson and his team stepped up immediately when they found out these guys were riding their bikes. And Obsession teamed up with Scott, a brand of bicycles, and they supplied these two with the bikes they rode across. Next sponsor, All West Insurance. Heard that these guys were going to ride and thought, well, they probably will need a support vehicle. And so they supplied the support vehicle for these guys. And while we're on the support vehicle, they bought a Ford Flex for Willie's buddies to drive back with them, Mikhail Zaleski and Young-Koo Young. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever driven from here to like Chilliwack or even Abbotsford. It's brutal. I'd rather be on the bike. Another sponsor, Method Personal Training, probably the best personal training studio in the world. They took a look at the list and what these guys needed. They needed bike helmets. We talked about training. These guys just did an amazing job. So congrats to you guys from us. And again, I said this earlier, but this sponsor was Big Color Works. And again, they supplied the food, the fuel for these guys all the way across the country. And then again, if I was riding across, I'd probably want these guys in my back pocket too. Storm Tech supplied some, you never know what you're going to get when you're out there. And I'm really curious and interested to hear all the riding stories and all the days that you guys put in. Storm Tech provided some cold weather jackets for these guys. And then lastly, Oakley. Wow. Let's see the shades. Wow. Really nice. Fantastic. So Oakley provided their sunglasses. Okay, let's get to it here. I'd like to first bring up on stage our Member of Parliament, John Weston, from West Vancouver, the Sunshine Coast, and Sea to Sky Country. If you could come on up here and say a few words, it'd be great.
Hey Jamie, what I really love about Canadian heroes is they go to exotic places like London, Ontario, take on big challenges like prostate cancer, become heroes, and don't hurt anybody along the way. I think that's really cool. You guys are heroes, and we really celebrate your coming home. Well done. Willie and Ted, I do have a question for you. There is a whole industry out there of coaching and training people who say it takes years to do things. You know, you got to build up, you've got to learn the technique and all that. Well, I took about a year to plan Bike Day on the Hill in Parliament. We got about 20 people out. You, I understand you got your first bike last year, and you end up with 200 people taking over the streets of West Vancouver. Well done. That is pretty awesome. So we got a few things to be proud about. First of all, living in the place we do. This is glorious. But more importantly, the people who live here, I think that we're becoming known not just as a wealthy place, but a place where we like to give things away to good causes. So here's to West Vancouver. Well done, everybody out there. But as a dad, the thing that really makes me proud about this moment is to think about somebody taking up a cause for his father, as you've done, and to make your dad and your mom proud, and to make all parents proud that when there's something that we might call a bad bounce, you pick up the ball and you run with it. So really well done, and we can't wait to see where you ride next. Ride on.
Thank you, John. I'd now like to invite the Mayor of West Vancouver, Michael Smith, to join me to say a couple of words. Michael, are you available? Thank you.
That's a high step, but when I was at Horseshoe Bay a couple of weeks ago for the Killsguard thing, I almost went flying right off the podium. So I'm doing better now. Anyway, welcome back to West Vancouver, Taylor and Willie. 4,500 kilometers obviously is a long distance to go, but to do it in 5 weeks is just amazing. So our hats off to you. On behalf of our council and really our whole community, we salute the boys and their team for what they've done and what they've accomplished, and for what a great cause it was. As John mentioned, prostate cancer is an issue that really touches almost every family. My father and uncle both had the disease, and to see Taylor and Willie step up and actually do something about it is really very inspirational. So I salute the boys and welcome them back, and West Vancouver, you've made West Vancouver very proud, so congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. Moving right along, I'd like to invite the provincial representative for West Vancouver, Capilano, Ralph Sultan.
Well, when I was invited to this affair, I thought, well, I'll go down there to the beach house and there'll be 6 or 8 people on the front step, and I'll do my thing, and that'll be it. I find this an overwhelming experience, and to think that as John just said, the kids have done it for their parents. That is truly extraordinary. In Victoria, we read the stats. Prostate cancer is the big killer of men in this society. It's the male counterpart of breast cancer. And what we are fortunate indeed of having here in British Columbia is one of the best cancer treatment organizations, health system, research capability anywhere in the world. If you come down with this dreadful disease, this is the place to get it. But that doesn't diminish at all the seriousness of the malady that these young men have set out to help conquer. And our hats and applause goes out to them. Thank you. My assigned role is really to bring a message from the Premier, and I will read it. As Premier of the province of British Columbia, it gives me great pleasure to congratulate this dedicated group of students on their Gear West ride across Canada. I am always delighted to hear about the stories of young leaders who earnestly want to make a difference in their communities. In this case, these gentlemen have taken the initiative to raise funds for prostate cancer research and increase awareness about early detection measures. I understand that Willie Conans and Taylor Schultz, with the support of their friends Mikhail Zaleski and Yongku Young, embarked on their amazing journey just over a month ago. Their trek from London, Ontario, all the way to West Vancouver is a truly remarkable feat, one that will make a world of difference for the men at risk of developing prostate cancer and their families. On behalf of the province of British Columbia, I want to commend you, Willie, Taylor, Mikhail, and Yonku, not only for your dedication and hard work, but also for serving as an inspiration to Canadians through your initiative. Once again, congratulations on your success, and thank you to everyone who has supported these young men as they fundraise for the Vancouver Prostate Center. Sincerely, Christy Clark, Premier, and thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. And thank you to all the politicians for your kind words and support. Let's get the Gear West team up here now. I think we've allotted 15 to 20 minutes per individual per speech.
I'll just take this. All right, first off, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today and gathering with us on our final day at Gear West. We couldn't have done it without you, and your support and love has made it amazing throughout the whole trip. For all the riders who joined us today, we were pretty tired, and it was awesome to have such a huge group of people pull us in and bring us home. Without your support and love, our trip would be nothing that it is. This ride was extremely special to me because I have someone very close to me who's battling prostate cancer. About 15 months ago, my dad sat me down and told me the news that he'd been diagnosed with prostate cancer. He spoke for about 20 minutes about his diagnosis and what had happened. I'll never forget the day. It took me a few days to wrap my head around the news of my dad being diagnosed with a life-threatening disease. To be honest, I didn't know how to react. I wanted to help my dad, raise his spirits, and make him proud. The idea of Gear West was sparked in Taylor and I's heads when a good friend of mine, Riley Sempt, was running across Canada in order to raise money and awareness for prostate cancer. Riley was embarking on a 5-month journey, and his goal was to raise $1 million for the Vancouver Prostate Center. In the early planning of our ride, our goal was to raise the hopes of men who had been affected by prostate cancer. I saw firsthand the effects that it has on men, and we wanted to raise the hopes of men while shining a light on awareness on this awful disease. This message that we were trying to send to people came all true when we stopped in Kamloops. After a long day of riding, we pulled into Kamloops where Kathleen, a good family friend, was waiting for us in a street corner with beer, cookies, and media. It was an amazing welcoming. Kathleen had been on the radio earlier that day and told all the listeners to meet us at this corner at 4 p.m. and come talk to us and tell us their stories. As we were sitting there, several men and women came down and expressed their deepest gratitude and told us how they had been affected by prostate cancer in their lives. One woman was telling us how her husband and 3 brothers had all been diagnosed within 6 months of each other, and how it had taken a toll and rattled their family. To hear these stories and to hear these people thank us was what it was all about. On behalf of us 4 up here, we'd like to dedicate our ride to all the men battling prostate cancer and who have battled it in the past. We hope we have raised the spirits and hopes of many men out there. Of course, there's no way that I could have biked from London, Ontario to Vancouver without my best friend by my side the whole way. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Taylor Schultz to say some words. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. We live in such an amazing place. It's incredible how much of a sense of community we have, and we thought we'd get maybe 30 people out here, and I'm honestly speechless. It's amazing. Thank you guys so much. Willie and I have been friends for as long as I can remember, and I've been in the Konatz family for just as long, and they've been like my third family. They've been like my third parents, and Don, when I heard the news from Willie, I was absolutely dreadful. I was it was so bad for me. And I just wanted to say, as a side note, Don, you were an incredible person, and I'm honored to bike across the country for you. I'm absolutely honored. we came up with this idea about a year ago. We were biking to a party after a couple of bevies. And I leant over to Willie and I said, wouldn't it be cool if we did something like this for a cause? And obviously he was super stoked on the idea and I said yes right away. And initially we thought we'd do some sort of bike ride around Vancouver or BC just to like raise some awareness and catch some attention from a few family and friends. But obviously it escalated into this, a 4,600 kilometer bike ride across the country for prostate cancer. Honestly, the real reason we wanted to do this, or me specifically, is just to get people like you, to get kids who are in the audience to fight for something that they're passionate about. Willie and I were obviously passionate about prostate cancer, and we really wanted to do something about it. And we put this together, and we were honest. It's been the most amazing time ever, and I just want to thank everyone. And yeah, it was about a month before our ride when a little brown head popped through my dorm room while Willie and I were organizing the event. And Mikhail just mentioned like, oh, do you need a support driver? And we were like, awesome, wicked. And Paul jumped on and Davina helped us, and you guys have been incredible. So without further ado, I'd like to call up Mikhail.
Before I ventured on this cross-country journey, my knowledge of prostate cancer was virtually non-existent. I did not know how severe or common this disease was among men, let alone what a prostate was. Today, 1 in 7 men in Canada alone will develop prostate cancer, and out of that, 1 in 4 will die. This disease used to be reserved for the elderly, but is now being found among men at the ages of 30 and 40. However, prostate cancer can be cured easily, if caught early enough, making annual testing even more important. When Willie approached me with the idea of being a support driver, with all the knowledge that I had gained, the only answer that I could give him was a yes. I soon realized that I would not just be supporting Willie and Taylor on this cross-country ride, but also supporting and raising the hopes of every man that has been afflicted with this disease. Our journey has ended, but our fight continues until prostate cancer is no more. Now here's Young Ku to give thanks to our sponsors, friends, and family.
On our first day in London, Ontario, Willie's dad, Don over here, said to us, this campaign is not just about 4 teenagers biking across the country, but a ride to raise hopes of men. Throughout the 5 weeks we've spent across the country, we've come to realize that Don, as per usual, was right. This trip wasn't just about us 4 biking across Canada, but a ride to spread awareness of this life-threatening disease and raising the hopes of men. The 4 of us know that we couldn't have done this campaign without the help of many generous sponsors that contributed to this cause. With this in mind, we would like to take this opportunity to thank all the sponsors who has provided us with all the necessities to make this campaign possible. There were lots of sponsors and many donors, and with that, we thank our friends, relatives, family for their never-ending love and support throughout our trip. Without it, we could not have finished nor started this campaign. Also, we thank those who came out to join us on our last ride and those who have come out to celebrate the last day of Gear West. We hope that this small idea between these 2 teenagers over here has grown to raise hope and awareness throughout the community and the country. Thank you.
I'd like to invite my dad, who is the inspiration for our trip, to the stage to say a few words.
Road with a few notes. Like most men, I know roughly where it is, but don't ask me to point to it on a map. But I learned exactly where it is last February when I learned that the statistic 1 in 6 men get prostate cancer became for me 1 in 1. I'll not ever forget that moment. For this is a disease for which, for many, there is no cure. Cancer is now the leading cause of death in every province and territory in Canada, accounting for 30% of all Canadian deaths. 1 in 3 British Columbians will have a diagnosis of cancer in their lifetime. We just don't know enough about this disease, despite the resources that we all give when cancer touches our lives. My son Willie wanted to do something about this, and he and his lifelong friend Taylor came up with Gear West, inspired by Terry Fox from the West Coast, and our family friend, Dr. Riley Sempt, who ran across Canada last summer, raising over $500,000 from the West Coast. And now you boys, 2 of you who have driven at 25 kilometers an hour across this great country, and 2 of you who have cycled upwind, uphill, across Canada, home to the West Coast. As a parent, I thought it was a big step for our son to go away to university, but when Willie called and presented the idea of a cross-Canada bike ride home from university, he was met with some skepticism. You don't have a bicycle. You've never road biked. And you have no plan. He replied, Dad, I know I don't have any of that, but I have a Facebook site. Now, I knew that Facebook is an essential for teenage existence, but what I didn't know is that it's all you need to mount a cross-Canada bike ride. We asked him, Willie, have you considered flying home? He replied, I know I don't have much. Many people say they're going to do something. I am going to do something. And they enrolled Mikhail Zaleski and Yongku Young to drive the support vehicle, and the plan started to take shape. They set a goal of raising $50,000, and they raised that before they turned a crank. Catherine and I flew down to join the boys on the first day. And how to ride safely on the highway, how to put their bicycles together. These were the basics. They'd been doing a little practicing, and they got a flat tire. But they have a smartphone, so they looked up YouTube on how to change a flat tire. When I looked at Taylor's seat on that first day, I said, boy, with the angle on that seat, you're not going to have a penis by the time you get to Saskatchewan. But I'm very proud of these boys, especially the tone that they've struck with their writing and with their speaking here today. The way they've engaged and carried their message. They left school as boys, and they're coming home as men. This incredible journey by these 4 young men has rolled into the finish line, and while the ride is finished, the campaign continues. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "Be the change in the world you wish to see." In the same way as these young men had no bicycles, no idea how long or steep the road would be, no clear plan to surmount the obstacles that they would encounter along the way, they just defied the odds, made a plan, set a goal, and made it happen. You have shown us that there's no such thing as too far. This is a metaphor from which we can all draw strength and courage. So they've raised $150,000 so far, and all of their expenses have been underwritten. You've raised awareness for the cause. You've raised a lot of money, but most of all, you've raised the hopes of men like me who are afflicted with this terrible disease. What more could a father want than such inspiration? Now, something that a lot of you know, but these guys don't know, is that this week Brian and Tammy Kersner gathered philanthropic friends for a spectacular evening to reflect on your achievement. It was Thursday night. It was January, cold, rainy, and we thought of you people up on the Coquihalla Highway in the snow. The Kersner gathering raised more money for Gear West, and I am pleased to present to you boys, to add to your total, a check. And that check is for $100,000. If you boys continue to live the full and meaningful life that you've shown us all is possible, we will all live in a cancer-free world. Thank you, boys.
Well, boys, this check's not exactly for $100,000. It's for $2,118.87. But it is my name is Roger Wright, and I'm the head at Collingwood School. And I'm enormously proud of these boys, Willie and Taylor and Mikhail, and I'll claim Yonku as a graduate as well. Okay. Congratulations. Okay. I just got my diploma. I just got his diploma. But you know, we have our mission as a school is to prepare young people to thrive in meaningful lives. And these four young men have done something very meaningful here and are beginning to fulfill that mission. And I wanted to congratulate them as they're from the whole Collingwood community, and also thank the many members of the Collingwood community who have supported this Gear West ride across Canada. Many of our students and our colleagues went out to Abbotsford this morning and were part of that escort coming in from Abbotsford. Ian Kennedy himself rode with the boys for the last couple of days, and he was actually carrying the heart and the sentiment from the whole school when he was doing that. I know many of the staff members and certainly a lot of the Collingwood community have contributed to your worthy cause, but our students wanted to do the same thing. So we had a little Looney Tooney drive, and that's how we came up with this check. Actually, the 87 cents was from this little girl who had a brother at Morven and heard that this was going on. But I'd like to present this check from the student body of Collingwood School to our new heroes, Willie and Taylor and Mikhail and Yonku.
I'd like to thank everyone at Collingwood and Mr. Wright for doing that. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Martin Gleave, who is the Executive Director of the Vancouver Prostate Center, where all our money is being donated to say some words.
Well, thanks, Willie and Taylor, Mikhail, and Yonku. Thank you, everybody, for coming out, and all the riders for contributing to the success of today's event. Over the last 200 years, medical research has helped to push the boundaries of our longevity. We now live twice as long as we did on an average 200 years ago. And when you think of today's event, all these guys with gray hair riding bikes out there, that would have been almost impossible 100 years ago. But now we're living longer and healthier, and a lot of the low-hanging fruit has been conquered. But cancer is now the greatest threat to our healthy longevity. It's an incredibly complex problem, not one disease, many different causes, and we're gradually getting to better understand it and control it. And through advances in medical research, we have made great strides in the last 40 years, and will continue to make fantastic strides over the next 20 to 30 to 40 years. And I think that we will gradually control this disease, turn it into a disease like AIDS or HIV, where you can actually control the virus and eliminate the disease as a problem. And that is actually, I think, on the horizon for many cancers. But again, I think it's initiatives like what these 4 young men have done, raise awareness for the disease. That helps to increase diagnosis and early treatment, but also helps to raise research funds. And $250,000 is a lot of money. When it's invested into medical research here in our community, it will attract 5 times as much over the next couple of years in global dollars, because that medical philanthropy brings in new dollars from global sources and continues to help us compete globally in this area. But it also helps produce new treatments, and that's what we're doing here. Many new treatments are being developed here in Vancouver that are being tested worldwide, and ultimately we help and hope to contribute to controlling this disease going forward. So I think over the past 2 months, Willie, Taylor, Mikkel, and Yanku, you've actually learned a lot about the prostate. You've certainly felt it because you've been sitting on it for the last couple of months. And I think you've earned an opportunity to come and work in our clinic anytime that you want. Okay? So thanks, everybody.
Here's our check.
Are we good here?
You guys keep it up there.
Thank you, Mike. Bernard LaRue. Is Bernard ready? Bernard?
Oh yeah.
He's coming.
Oh, we're yeah, I'm just spraying it. Yeah, but hit the there as well.
Whose bike is this?
That is Willie's.
Really, you dumped it?
What?
You dumped your bike?
I did a front flip off it.
Front flip. Okay. Thank you for that.
Well, on behalf of their ride, I'd like to congratulate these guys for riding so far, so long, hardly any crashes. They've done a fantastic job, great fundraising, and I also think that, you know, the bikes, they now own the bikes.
So damn cross board.
Do we get the car as well? The bikes. Okay, now we'll do the floral presentation.
Word.
Wow. I'll let you. You guys want to go up on stage?
Yeah, just go. No.
Catherine, would you like to come?
You go. Which way? On the right? On the right? Oh. Wait. Whoa. Don't pop it.